I know what I've said in the past, but I'm going to tell you the truth about why I stopped doing rituals on a regular basis, rituals with regard to manifestation. And I'm also going to tell you about what I figured out is the meaning of that saying, all you need is love. I'm sure you hear that saying, all you need is love. It's all about love. What does that even mean? So I'm gonna tell you what I figured out. I got this huge download. What does it mean when people say all you need is love? And what I figured out, what I heard that it means is that all there is your belief in who you are and what you're capable of, or in other words, your state of being. And so how that translates to the saying, all you need is love, is really kind of to love and trust yourself. So, we come into this world, when we first come into this world, we're clean slates, we're babies, we're clean slates. And then over the next course of, basically your lifetime, you get indoctrinated with what your family believes, teachers, people who are around you all the time. They're basically indoctrinating you with what they believe and what they've been taught as well, what they have been taught to believe. And then they indoctrinate you. And then you take on the responsibility of those beliefs. And then, of course, also the beliefs that come from your experiences. But realize that your experiences, they are a reflection of what you already believe. So all of these layers of beliefs upon beliefs and experiences really kind of dictate how you see the world and how you go about life. But these things are not really tangible. They feel tangible because you're in the 3D reality, but they're not really. And this is when you realize that, or maybe you come to the realization that you can make up what it is that you're seeing reflected in your reality. In other words, how to manifest deliberately is by wiping away all of those indoctrinated beliefs and changing your perspective on the experiences that you've had so far, or at least the experiences that you're having from now going forward. So I'm going to give you a few steps on how you can get to this point, because I started out just like you. I started out first learning that there is more to life than just what's going on in the 3D reality, what we're seeing in reality. And then learning the spiritual side of this lifetime and of our existence and our being here. And slowly, over many years, I came to my own understanding about this life. And funny enough, I used to think that, people who read the Bible and who are specifically religious, they probably have the background, or people who study religions and the laws of the universe. They probably know more than someone like me who doesn't have a formal study in that. But that couldn't be further from the truth. If anyone from any walk of life can come into the knowledge that I'm sharing with you on my channel. And once again, it's not good to compare yourself to other people, which is something that I have done in the past. But yeah, that's ridiculous. You can all come to your own understanding. The way we come to our understanding of how we connect to the universe, to other people, and why we're here, and what we're meant to be doing in this lifetime. All of that, everyone has their own unique way of coming to that information. So I would love to help you on that journey. If I can help you figure that out as well, that would be great, or be a step along the way. Because everything in your environment, everything in my environment, everything in all of our environment, there are always clues leading you to your connection with yourself, your inner being, your higher being, if you want to call it that, God, whatever you want to call it, your connection to the universe. Everyone comes to it in their own way. And there are many ways to come into it. So I'm going to give you a few steps that I've learned along my way, and you can see if it will help you. So the first step is to strip yourself of all the beliefs that you've had since you've been born. And it may sound daunting depending on how old you are, right? It may sound daunting, but really it's just to fix your mindset to where you look at those beliefs loosely. They're not hard and true facts. You can believe whatever you want, and that will be the basis of how you manifest in this world. So it's just to kind of consider those old beliefs as one way of thinking. It doesn't have to be your way of thinking. You can now map out how you choose to believe going forward, and that will alter your experiences going forward in the now and going forward. So the second step is, it's really not a step, but it's just sort of a reason. The reason that you need to strip all of the preconceived beliefs you've had go from the past up until this point is to help you to reconnect to the universe, or to spirituality, to spirit. And we all have a different way of referring to what that is. Some people refer to it as God. Some people refer to it as your higher self, your spirit guides, angels. But really, these are just terms that we use as humans that really don't, they're really not hard and fast rules to explain what that connection is. And sometimes those terms can get in the way, because I know some people have a trigger when it comes to the term God. Whether you've been religious in the past and had a negative experience with the term God, or you just have never believed in God, or just even the story you tell yourself about that term. These are things that really don't amount to anything. It really doesn't matter unless you make it matter. So if you have a problem using the term God, then use another term. You can use universe, you can use guides, angels, spirits, whatever you want to call it. And vice versa. Some people love using and have a good experience with the term of God. And you can use that too. But honestly, the truth of it, which is what I'm talking about today, the truth is that it doesn't really matter. It's all the same thing. And it's just your connection to what's inside you. Because as long as you associate that spiritualness with something that's inside you and not outside of you, then you're hitting the mark. You're getting it. You're getting it. Really, it comes from within. So, sometimes when you use the term God, people think of God as in heaven, as if it's a place out there in, I don't know where, the universe, right? And even the term universe can kind of feel like, oh, well, that's out there in space or something. But really, your connection is just an internal one. And the closer you get to understanding that internal connection, the more it will begin to resonate. It will begin to resonate. And you will begin to understand that the connection you have with God, the universe, spirit guides, is within, is something that only you can experience within. And no one, including me, can really give you the guidance that connection can give you. So I'm just here basically to let you know how to get that connection, how to to give you advice and help you in terms of hearing and finding that connection. That's really all I hope to do. And once you get that going, then that's really all you need. All you need is love, which is like the inner love. And I don't know, for some reason it feels like it's tethered inside to the heart. Maybe that's the connection. But that's really all you need. And then that just leads me to step number 3. Once you believe in that connection that you have, that unique connection that every single individual has, that connects us all to spirituality, to the spirit place, to what's beyond the veil of 3D reality. Once you have that, then you can get the messages. You can hear the messages that you're getting every day and all day. For steps to take, for knowledge. I mean, I got this download. It didn't come from me. This is what I got from the messages that I get. They could be coming from things that I watch, things that I listen to, and how to distinguish the messages from just the noise of whatever else is it'll resonate with you. Like you'll hear something, maybe someone says something, whether it's you're watching TV or YouTube or listening to a podcast, but someone says something. And especially if you are seeking spiritual type videos, right? Or spiritual type content that is of another realm, so to speak. And honestly, I've even gotten these messages just from like movies that are out there, TV shows. I just finished watching this movie called Dark Matter. That movie, it was like it was speaking a language I understood. And my sister couldn't get it because she didn't speak that language. She doesn't seek that information. But I could understand it completely. And I felt like I had some input that I wanted to give. I mean, it was kind of crazy. I had such fun watching that show. And it almost reaffirmed what I've already learned and gathered and from my own spirit guides, from my own internal voice, right? It was amazing. So the messages can come from anywhere and everywhere. A billboard. It could, I mean, literally, it just could come from anywhere. It could come from a conversation you have with a friend or a family member. It could come from anywhere. So the purpose of getting in tune with and getting to understand your connection to spirit and how it all kind of links together is for you to change your beliefs, for you to understand the power that you have and how your beliefs can empower you to manifest whatever you want, to have whatever you want in this life. And I kind of think really this is the whole point. I mean, I feel like we're here to learn this connection. And it's so funny, and to go through the trials and tribulations. But the point is to get back to that connection, that inner connection. So I was like you, or maybe like you, doing scripting and affirmations. I had created like an audio file of my affirmations, and I would plug my earbuds in at night and fall to sleep to these affirmations with a little music in the background. This was before they even had like the major apps they have now, I think, where you can do that or listen to affirmations. But I did it for myself so that I could change my mindset. And you might still have to do that too in order to change your mindset, in order to believe and to understand your connection with your inner self. But I did all the things. I scripted. I made scripting books. You saw one in my last video. I've used scripting books. I mean, I did it because all of these tools, they are helpful as you along your way, as you learning to change your mindset. But when it comes down to it, at some point, you're going to find that you just believe and you get it. It's like, okay, I got it. Like, and sometimes I've even, watched manifesting videos. I've followed manifesting gurus like 𝚁𝚎𝚕𝚏. He was amazing, and his approach to it is very systematic, and where you're writing things down. He's very into journaling. I've even more recently caught on to neuro knowledge. He's amazing because boy, does he have the tangible, I guess, knowledge. He's read all the books. I think he said he's read like over 200 books on spirituality, on religions, on physics, metaphysics, whatever. He's read the books, and he has this wonderful, I think, picture perfect memory of these things. And he has his own way of explaining what it is. And then, there's so many people out there who are kind of on this bandwagon of explaining how to connect to your inner person, your inner being, your soul, and have that soul connection and understand what it is. And basically, it just comes down to your beliefs and your emotions about it. So the latest kick is, or what people are discovering is it's really just emotion based. And why that is, I think, is because that is how you can tell whether or not you get it, is because how you truly feel deep inside is what gets reflected onto the plane of reality. So so it's really important to connect emotionally to your desired reality in order to see it become reflected upon the plane of 3D reality. So if what you're seeing in your day-to-day life isn't what you're desiring, then that means that there's a disconnect emotionally between you and your inner being. You in terms of what your thoughts are and your inner being. And what your emotions are. Your emotions are telling a different story. Then they always tell the truth. So when there came a point where I started getting a message saying that really just said the truth. All you need is love. All you need is belief and emotion. Love meaning that's the emotion of connecting with your inner self, and everything on the outside will be taken care of. And it started, obviously I used to say that affirmation all the time. Everything is always working out for me, until the point where I started to see that, yes, everything is always working out for me, even when you think it's not. Even when you think that there's been a detour in the road, hello, construction ahead, you're going to have to take a detour. Sometimes that does happen, but the truth is, ultimately, everything is always working out for you. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for us. Everything is always working out in our favor if you believe that. So when I started to really believe it, then it just occurred to me. I started to hear this message that, Dina, you don't need to do that anymore. Like I'd feel like, kind of like what I was talking about in my last video, where I felt like I had to do something. I felt like I had to take action, but that action was not coming from a place of inspiration from my inner self. No, it was coming from a place of fear, a place of thinking I have to do something, right? I mean, it's not to say that you're not ever going to do anything, but it should not come from a place of fear. And there were moments where I would feel like, oh, I'm not getting this or that. I need to write it down. I need to prove it to myself again. No. And then the voice would show up. No, really, you don't really need to do all that. You've got this. You already know what to do. Which is why I also did a video about you're better at this than you think. Because sometimes we can be hard on ourselves. I know I've always been hard on myself, not really understanding the things that I accomplished, not really taking credit for the things that I have accomplished and the things that I am capable of. Like one of the things, whenever I start to doubt what I'm capable of, I think of this time, this instance where my previous computer had broken down. It was old and it was dying and it shut down. And it freaked me out because I'm like, oh, I have all this information. I need to get that information off that computer. And so in order to do that, I somehow had to get the computer running again. And the solution that I found for it, I Googled it, and then they said, you have to cook your motherboard. And I was like, wait, what? Cook my what? What in the what? So basically what that meant was going inside my computer, which it's just not something I do. I'm just not that tech savvy. But I found a video that gave me step-by-step directions on how to do it. And I took the motherboard out of my computer and I cooked it in the oven like it told me to do. And then I had to stick it back into the computer. And all the while feeling like, this is nuts. This is crazy. This is not what I do. Okay. I'm a creative. I'm not a technical. Well, at least that's what I thought at that time. Well, I suspended belief enough to do it, and it worked. It actually worked, and I was able to get all my files out of that computer before it died again. And then buy a new computer and put those files into my new computer. So you never know what you're capable of, or you might underestimate what you're capable of with, beliefs, right? Beliefs that aren't serving you. So, the point is to keep it loosey-goosey and to allow yourself to believe in anything can happen. Anything can work out. Anything and everything can work out in your favor. So once I was hearing that voice telling me, oh, you don't really need to do all these rituals, because I was doing everything. I had crystals. I mean, I was a massage therapist. I was working with crystals. I was, mentally checking in and, visualizing things and writing things down and having like fire rituals at the new moon. And, these things, they can still be fun and useful. I mean, look, any excuse to get out into nature is only going to further connect you to everything that is living. Everything is connected. And doing some of these rituals really can connect you and make you really feel the connection on a more visceral level. Everything, it's all fine. But ultimately, at some point, I got the message, you don't really have to do any of this stuff. You've already got the capability within you. You can hear Spirit's voice. You can hear your inner voice. Inner, not there, but inner. You got this. You can hear it. You know what's going on. Just quiet yourself, and you know how to do it. Anytime that I, if I ever had a doubt, I could just meditate. I learned how to do that. And maybe I'll do a video on that for you guys, so you can also learn step by step how to meditate. But I already had everything that I needed. And that was another message I kept getting from Spirit. I kept hearing, you already have everything that you need. You know everything that you need to know to go forward and to get what you want, to manifest your desired reality. And that's when I stopped doing the rituals. And it's not to say that I won't ever pick up those things again. Like I won't ever script again or do a fire ritual at the full moon or the new moon. Because that is this life. I mean, things ebb and flow. Everything is in and out, up and down. So, and that's what this life is about. We're on the physical plane. This is what we're here to experience and to gain new perspective. on how to interact, how to be in this environment, 3D environment, and also maintain our connection to our inner self, our inner guide. So the bonus step after those 3 steps is, what do you choose to do? What are you going to do? What do you choose to do? Do you choose to continue on this journey, this spiritual, well, you're on a journey, but do you choose to continue to be conscious on this journey of figuring out how to understand your connection with your inner self, with your inner spirit, and how you connect to everyone and everything in this universe, not just this world, but this universe. It can only be good when you continue on that journey of experiencing the inner world in conjunction with the 3D reality. But it's your choice. Not everybody's going to take this journey, but you're here, which means that you're definitely well on your way. That's like half the battle, is figuring out that this is really the journey we're all on, despite everything that's going on in the world, anything material. The point is to strengthen that connection, to go back and to discover something that you knew before you were born, which is your connection to source, to everything. And if you want help figuring this stuff out, there is a link below in the description that's called Real Manifestation Talk Sessions, where you can work with me personally to deepen your connection to source. I'll see you next time.